Hey, this is Jamey with Stonemaier Games, and twice a year I do a video where I talk about my top 10 favorite games of all time as of right now. So right now it's February in the year 2020, and I'm going to talk about my top 10 favorite games right now. For reference though, I run a company called Stonemaier Games, hence the t-shirt. We make, so far we have 9 games, including Viticulture, Euphoria, Between Two Cities, Between Two Castles, Scythe, Charterstone, Wingspan. Almost spoiled our next game there in the list. What am I forgetting? Tapestry and Euphoria. I think I missed Euphoria. Yeah, I think that's right. My Little Scythe. I already had Euphoria. My Little Scythe is the other one. All of those games are not eligible for this list as much as I love them. I wouldn't publish them if I didn't love them, but they're not eligible for these top 10 lists. It just doesn't feel right to put that much bias into them. And really, it's hard for me to pick amongst my children, as you might say. So I'm not going to put those on the list, but those might be on your list, and that's okay with me. I narrowed my list this year down to 24 games that I really love, and I love a lot of games. I think I looked. In fact, on the link below, you can see the ratings for all of my games. There's a link to Board Game Geek where you can see that I've rated over 700 games, tabletop games that I've played. So it was really hard for me to do this, but I got it down to 24, and then I narrowed that 24 down to 10. So let me tell you the honorable mentions real quick, the ones that didn't quite make it. Lords of Waterdeep, Skull, Bunny Kingdom, Poker, Ra, Blokus, Scotland Yard, Seven Wonders Duel, Terra Mystica, Isle of Skye, Orleans, QE, Azul Summer Pavilion, Incan Gold, Cartographers, Hanamikoji, Sushi Roll, and Downforce. I really love those games. It was really hard not to put them in the top 10 list, but they didn't quite make it. So let's jump into the top 10 list here, starting with Dice Throne. Dice Throne came very close to edging out, or Hanamikoji came very close to edging out Dice Throne. I love Hanamikoji, but Dice Throne, which is mostly a dueling game about rolling dice and for a bunch of different asymmetric characters. You pick one character, you have special dice just for that character. I just have a lot of fun with it. And I don't know, with Megan, we play a fair number of two-player games now, and this one is one that I am just super excited to get to the table every time we play. There was a little bit of luck in it, but there's just something addicting about rolling those dice and trying to get that superpower and trying to just get powers throughout the game as you roll those dice. It's just a very satisfying game to play, and that's why Dice Throne is my number 10. My number 9 is the Quacks of Quedlinburg. I don't own this game. I have a friend who has a fully decked out copy with a really nice chips. This is a bag building game. One of my new favorite genres. I really love bag building games. And it is also a push your luck game, so it touches upon two of my sweet spots, push your luck and bag building. And I just have fun every time I play it. I love the push your luck element. I love that kind of anything can happen. You're going to have some bad rounds, but you're going to have some good rounds too. Even when you don't have a great round, you still can choose the points or the currency that you get at the end of the round. And there's this strong sense of progression throughout the game as you're getting more and more tokens, better tokens, and that feels really good. Yeah, so I just love Quacks. I just have a lot of fun with it. It's just pure fun for me, and that is the Quacks of Quedlinburg, my number 9. My number 8 favorite game. This is one that it's a weird one to make this list because I don't own it, even though I easily could. But I have a friend who owns it, and it is Role Player. Role Player is a game that I just could not shake from this list because I just have a great time every time I play it, and especially lately, I've just been really in the mood to play Role Player. I love the Role Player is a game where you're building basically a kind of a Dungeons and Dragons style character, but you're doing so in a very puzzly way in terms of several different aspects. You're pretty much forming like the alignments and the core skills of your character using dice, but you're doing so in a really puzzly way. Each of the dice has, when you place it, has a different meaning. The colors have meaning based on where you play them. There are these equipment cards that you can get that can enhance what you're doing, and I love the puzzle of it. I just love it. The puzzle of role player is so much fun, and I love that the theme is added to this puzzle. It's a fairly abstract game, but the way the theme is integrated into it really makes you feel like you're building a character. And that in itself is such a unique thing that the whole game is just building a character. I love that. That's why role player is my number 8 favorite game right now. My number 7 favorite game right now is one that's been on the list for a while. This is, I think, the only filler game on this list, and that is Fantasy Realms. There we go. Fantasy Realms is a combo hand management game, really hand building game, where you start off with a certain number of cards, and I think it's 7 cards. Yeah, 7 cards. And at the end of the game, you also still have 7 cards. And you're just trying to create the best combos amongst those cards. Different cards work better with each other than other cards, so a card might say for every army that you have, get plus 10 points. Each card also has a base power, but those higher powered cards often come with a penalty if you pair them with another type of card. And every game of this is different because there's many of the cards are just super, super powerful and strong if you create a certain combination. In fact, I just played this at a game day the other day, and I had a card that said if I had only odd cards in hand at the end of the game, then I would score like 40 extra points. And so my whole game was structured around doing that, but also still comboing other cards along with each other while I was doing that. Just really satisfying to play, really easy to teach, always easy to get to the table. That is why Fantasy Realms is my number 7 favorite game. My number 6 favorite game right now is a newcomer to the list. It is also a 2-player game, and it is Watergate. Watergate uses one of my favorite mechanisms in games, and it uses it in a number of different ways, and that is the tug-of-war mechanism, in which there are different tokens on this tug-of-war track where one player is trying to pull those tokens in one direction, and the other player is trying to pull them in the opposite direction. That is a very, very satisfying mechanism to me. I love the tension by that. I love that there's always some give and take. You can't get everything. You got to give up something at certain times. But hopefully when you do that, and based on the timing of the cards you're playing, that you can pull more stuff in your direction. And I love that there's even an end to the tracks, a 5 spot, where if you can pull any token onto that spot, you gain it immediately and permanently. Or not permanently, but for that round. It cannot be taken away from you. So I love that aspect of the tracks, that there's not just a sliding scale where you're trying to end the round with something on your side, but also that you can lock it in on that 5 slot. I love this game. I mean, it is a fantastic 2-player game, and that's why Watergate is my number 6 favorite game right now. My number 5 favorite game right now is the heavy game that I'm always just happy to play. I love the progression in the game. I love the gear tracks in this game, and that is Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar. This is my favorite heavy game. I love the so many different paths to victory in this game, the different time tracks. I love time as a mechanism. I love the feeling progression throughout the game through the different tracks. There's these tech tracks, there's these buildings, and every wheel, every gear in the game feels like it's giving you progression at all times. You're always moving forward on these gears. It is a fantastic worker placement game and just a fantastic game in general. And that's why Tzolk'in is my number 5 favorite game right now. My number 4 favorite game right now, where is it on my list? Yeah, this is the Castles of Mad King Ludwig. This is a game that hasn't hit my table as much this year as it has in past years, but it's not because I don't like the game. It's mostly because I don't own it. But this is a game where if someone says, do you want to play Castles? I'm in. I love the Castles of Mad King Ludwig so much that I published a spin-off game in partnership with Bezier Games called Between Two Castles of Mad King Ludwig. I love it that much. This is a game where you're building a castle with these zany tiles. It features several of my favorite mechanisms. One is just it's a very rewarding game where almost everything you do gives you at least 2 rewards based on like if you finished a tile and the fact that you're placed in a tile. Gives you, those are 2 different rewards that you're getting. It also features I price you choose. I love I cut you choose, I price you choose, and the Castles of Mad King Ludwig has this, where one player is the master builder. They are pricing the tiles and everyone else is buying them every round. I love that mechanism. I'm just always happy to play this game. It's wonderful. It's just a delightful game to play, in my opinion, and that is the Castles of Mad King Ludwig, my number 4 favorite game right now. My number 3 favorite game is one that hasn't been eligible for previous lists, or the last couple lists, because I didn't include games that are kind of one-time plays. I love legacy games, for example. Really, really love legacy games. But I don't often put them on these lists because I'm not going to play them again. But Time Stories, Time Stories is my number 3. I'm putting on this list because it is kind of an ongoing saga, and they just renewed and refreshed the saga by creating Time Stories Revolution, which is a new series of standalone games. You can just buy the one box for Time Stories Revolution. We just played the Hadal project the other day, and I was kind of reminded of just how much I love this game, and that even though each session of it, each module is a one-off game, it is an ongoing game that I will continue to engage with every time one comes out. I love the stories it tells. I love the puzzles. I love the interaction, the cooperation. And this new version, Time Stories Revolution, has just a few mechanisms that elevate it even to the next level. For a game that was my favorite game in the past, it's even better than that. So that's why Time Stories is my number 3 favorite game right now. My number 2 favorite game right now is a game that I just can't quit. I've been playing it for many, many years, and that is Magic the Gathering. I love opening booster packs. I love playing draft in Magic. There are many different ways to play Magic, but the specific way that is featured on this list is draft. I love booster drafts in Magic. I just hosted a draft a week or so ago for the latest set, and we had a blast. And that is my preferred way to play Magic. Every time a new set comes out, I invite a bunch of friends over, I buy all the packs, and we just play a draft. And then we play one game against everybody else. And it's just a lot of fun. I get excited every time we do it. I love those afternoons that we spend playing with those drafts, and just the feeling of opening a booster pack and seeing what you get and deciding what's best for you and best for your deck. I love that deck construction element. I love then immediately playing with it against a bunch of other creative decks. Man, this is just an incredible game. And that's why Magic the Gathering is my number 2 favorite game. My number 1 favorite game is a game that has come on and off this list over time, but I just finished playing the Legacy version of it. And even though I'm going to take probably a little break from the game after finishing the Legacy version, it's just a game that I love. I love every inch of it. And that is, I put everything into one box now. All my Clank stuff is in this box. Clank is my number 1 favorite game right now. I just had such a wonderful time playing through the Legacy version, and that was on top of the fact that I already loved playing regular Clank and its expansions. This is a deck building and a bag building game with a dungeon crawl the way I love it, and that you're running through a dungeon and just collecting cool stuff. There's no tactical combat or anything like that. You were just running through a dungeon, collecting stuff, choosing your path through the dungeon, and while you're doing that, you have this sense of progression from what you're doing in your deck. And the bag building, you're not really building your own bag, you're collectively building a bag of Clank that can end up hurting you at the end of the game or throughout the game. But I just love this game. It is pure fun, but also deeply strategic and even tactical at times. It hits just every layer of gaming that I like. And part of the reason this game is on the top of the list right now is that I just have the utmost admiration for what they did with Clank Legacy. It was a delight to play, and it was a delight, and particularly it was a delight to play, and I know that I will continue to play Clank after taking a little bit of a break from playing it so much over the last few months. And that is, I think, the sign of an amazing Legacy game, or amazing game really, where if you play the Legacy version, you play a campaign version of it, and you still want to go back to it in the future, that to me indicated that I had to put it at the number 1 spot. I'm sure it'll change over time, but right now I just have so much to thank Clank for the happy memories that it's given me and the joy that I have playing it. That is my number 1 favorite game right now. So that's it. That's my top 10, as well as a bunch of honorable mentions. As I mentioned below, you can find a link to how I've rated all of my games. So if you watch this list and you're like, Jamey, how can you not put this game on this list? Well, my opinions are different than yours, and so that's okay. And I'd love to hear your top 3 or 5 or 10 favorite games. And it's okay that yours are different than mine. I'm totally cool with that. But you might want to check out how I've rated games because A, I may not have even played your favorite game, and B, if I have, you can see the rating for it, and you can see that why my opinion of it is is indicative of why it's not on this list. And there are even games like Terra Mystica is a game that I've rated like a 9 or 9.5, but it's not a game that I want to play. I would rather play Tzolk'in right now. That's the heavy game that I'd prefer over Terra Mystica. So even those really highly rated games, sometimes they just don't quite make the top 10 based on how I'm feeling right now and how I made this list. Yeah, so those are my thoughts. I'd love to hear yours in the comments, your thoughts about these games, your top 3, 5, 10 list right now. Yeah, feel free to share your opinions in the comments. I look forward to reading them there. Thanks.